Okay, I think I'm going to make a video specifically for Formosa. I'm going to talk a little bit about riding a scooter safely, you know, because it's kind of crazy. You get all these foreigners that move to Taiwan, and then they buy a scooter to get around, because it's the cheapest and most convenient form of transportation. Well, you know, I guess if you live in Taipei, you can get by with MRTs and buses. But if you live anywhere else in Taiwan, you pretty much have to buy a scooter. But the crazy thing is that you get all these foreigners that come here, and then they buy scooters, and they don't actually take an active interest in learning about them. You know what I mean? Like they're like, okay, I just needed to get to work, and then they buy it. They don't know anything. You know, they ride around the block a few times until they feel good enough on it, and then they just go out into traffic and they ride for like a year or two like that, you know, without any actual knowledge of motorcycling skills or techniques or understanding of their tires or their braking system or anything, you know. It's just, I was like that when I got my first motorcycle too, back when I was like, you know, 18 years old, and I went out and got my first motorcycle, and I didn't take the time to actually to study. I just drove the shit out of the thing for like a year, and I had no idea what kind of tires I had on it, or I didn't know many techniques or understand, you know, the proper ways to take corners. But I did fine. I didn't crash. I didn't die. But the whole point is like, you know, like every time you get on a scooter, you're entrusting your life to that scooter. It's almost like operating some type of heavy machinery, like some kind of big ass fucking lumber mill saw or something. And then you're working all day long with this big lumber mill saw. And if you make one wrong, if you make one wrong move, you're gonna cut off an arm, or you're gonna like lose something. You know what I mean? Now, don't you think if you were gonna like operate that lumber mill saw, you would first take the time to ask somebody how it works, or what's the proper method for pushing logs through it, or, you know what I mean? You wouldn't just go, okay, just tell me the basics. Just tell me, okay, well, the wood goes in here, it gets cut here, and it comes out there. Okay, that's enough. I'll take it over from here. No, you wouldn't do that. You'd be like, okay, well, you know, what's the safest way to do it? How am I least how can I work this machine with the least amount of risk to myself? How can I work this machine without losing an arm, you know, with the least possible chance of myself getting an arm cut off or dying? You know, that chances are, if you're working a machine like that, those are the questions you'd be asking. But for some strange reason, when it comes to like motorcycles and scooters, people don't ask those questions. They're not, you know what I mean? They're just like, okay, I understand. This is go, this is stop. I can turn with this thing. Okay, thank you, goodbye. Bunch of, you know, like, I did it for a little while, but then as soon as you start researching it, and you start reading on the internet and stuff, you start realizing how much there is to learn, and how little there is that most of us know. And that's the thing, you know, like if you ride a scooter or you ride a motorcycle, if you're in Taiwan, you know, whatever, you consider it just your way to get to work. But you just consider it just a thing to get to work, and that's it, and it's no big deal. Well, it is a big deal, because you know, there's been a few foreigners in the time that I've been here that have died on scooters, and I hear about foreigners all the time going to the hospital in horrific crashes and getting, you know, losing all their teeth, and you know, and this and that, and crippled for life, and it happens all the time. And then you know, this is happening all around you, and you still get idiots that just refuse to spend 20 minutes reading on the internet or to watch a couple of like safety videos. But, you know, chances are, if you're watching this video, you're not one of the people that should be hearing it, because you already took enough interest to click on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy. But yeah, you know, like, and the people that crash all the time, it's like these people in general ride pretty normally, you know. They're not racers. They're not trying to show off for anybody, and I usually am. You know what I mean? Like, I'm one of those guys that like to show off and ride really fast and go in and go through traffic like this. but I'm not crashing. And then you get other people you get girls who just pedal along slowly, going to work, and boom, they crash. It's like, okay, so why are they crashing and I'm not? You know, and the reason is because I actually understand the scooter. I know its limitations. I've studied it, you know, and I know what to do when somebody throws open the door in front of me, or I come across a huge pothole, or the guy in front of me's helmet falls off his head and lands directly in front of my tire. I know how to react to those kinds of things with the least chance of crashing. You know, and then, you know, I'm not saying I'm impervious to harm here. Like, I'm sure I'll have another accident in the next year or two. But, you know, but my accidents in general are just fender benders, you know. Like, something happens, I lock up the brakes, and I'm usually going a bit too fast to begin with. So I lock up the brakes, and you know, I slow down to a speed of like 5 miles an hour, and then bump them, you know. That's what most of my accidents consist of. You know, I don't know. I ride my scooters a lot. I've taken this scooter from Taipei to Kending, you know, 3-4 times. Usually I bring my dog along. And I've never had an accident. You know, you get other people, they just ride it to work and back, and they don't do much other than that, and they still have serious accidents. So yeah, so the whole point I'm making is if you're gonna ride a scooter, then at least take the time to learn something about it. If you're gonna entrust your life into a piece of machinery, then you owe it to yourself to actually learn something about that machinery. And if you don't, then you're just an idiot. You gotta throw in yourself, you know. Okay.